I'm nowhere near trying to say that this is going to be easy, because it wasn't for me. And I don't think it's inherently easy for humans to do this. We're impulsive creatures. Even the most disciplined of individuals still feel the impulse, but they wrestled it. Nope, you're not going to have what you want. I'm doing this. That's discipline. You have to forge that as a trader. You have to think how you're going to behave in instances that you have not yet been met with. Those are protocols. If you don't know what you're going to do if you have 2 losing trades and you don't have a plan for that that's written out, you're never going to be able to weather that. What's going to happen is, with no plan written, there's no standard operating procedure for you. I've suffered 2 losing trades in a row. What do I do next? Well, you know what your skin is going to tell you to do. I'm uncomfortable, so fix this. You're not comfortable in your own skin. So what are you going to do? You're going to over leverage, no stop loss, and you're going to go in there and just buy or sell whatever the first impulse is in your mind, just like that. Why? Why does that happen? Because you're suffering through a chemical imbalance because of the pain, the doubt, the frustration, the fear. You still have your account. You still have enough to take trades. You did not do that much damage, but the discomfort that you're feeling, that pain, you want to escape it, but you know you can't escape it, because to escape that means you have to simply turn the screens off and take the loss, plural. The first losses like that are the most painful and the most expensive, because you will go on tilt. How do you correct that? How do you prevent it? Acknowledge that you did something wrong and tell yourself, I am not done, but I am finished trading today. I have permission to leave this just like it is, and I will come back to it with a better prepared mind, with more patience, and I'm going to let this settle. Not, I have to escape the pain because I've just taken 2 losing trades. Yes, it's only a couple $100, or it's $1,000, or maybe it's $2,500. Whatever it is, it could be any denomination in terms of money. You don't want to have that. You don't want to suffer that. You want gains, you want profits. But part of this process is you have to learn to be a good money manager, and you have to stop hemorrhaging money. I don't like the expression that's bandied about by Mr. Hugard. It's no knock against you, Tom. It's just sometimes there's things I hear, and I just don't agree with it. So if you ever hear this, you just permit me to know, or permit me to say this, and you know that I still have respect for you. Now, I'm not trying to, kick dirt in your face, but his expression is, and he wrote actually a book about it. The best loser wins. And you need to learn to be a good loser. I don't think that's actually a good way of saying that. I think the better way of saying it would be, you have to give yourself permission to be imperfect. Doesn't that sound a whole lot less, well, when you say the word loser, it brings to light a connotation that it's just simply uncomfortable. And our subconscious is very powerful. It's like a sponge. And this is why I teach people, when you're logging and when you're doing your journal, you want to be doing things that speak positively, like you're nurturing your own child, because the trader that you're developing into is you. It's not somebody else. And they're highly impressionable right now. In the beginning, your first few years are very important years of development, just like a child is. The first 5 years of development are crucial. It really sets the tone for the type of person they're going to be. So I don't like the idea of saying that you have to learn to be a good loser. No, that's not actually a good way of doing it. You need to give yourself permission to be imperfect. That is very disarming. It's easier to allow yourself to walk away knowing that Yeah, I'm in control. Are you in control when you say, I'm just going to be a good loser today? I have never adopted a mindset once I found the models that work, the continuity in my decisions and operations, and taking the traits that I know matter because of the things I've been sharing and teaching to you. I've never looked at what it is I do when I don't do well. If I do it wrong, I don't say, I'm just going to be a good loser today. That's not arrogance. That's not ego. It's me guarding my thought process. It's me guarding the way I see myself. Because if I constantly feed myself subconsciously things that are keywords for loser, loser, my subconscious is going to be thinking, okay, this is painful. This is uncomfortable. And I'm going to dwell on it for that night, for that weekend, if it's a Friday. You know what it feels like when you go into the weekend, you've taken a loss, and you maybe were up in the morning, and that little bit of greed tapped you. Said, you're only $75 away from getting funded. You're only $75 away from your payout, and there's no better day to do it now. It's a Friday. Why wait until Monday? And you blow it. All that progress is done. Do you want to tell yourself you're just going to have to be a good loser that day? That doesn't help you, does it? But if that does happen, you tell yourself, well, here's what I was able to do. I got so close to it, and in my impatience, while learning how to do this and mastering myself, I allowed my impatience to dictate my actions. And I'm going to be able to do this again because I've got here once before. So I give my permission to myself to have a restful weekend. I'm going to regroup. I'm going to come back Monday and I'm going to start again. And I'm not going to make the same mistake. I'm going to defer. And I've taught this to my students. If you are close to the proverbial payout or getting funded, and you know, as soon as you start looking at how much money you got to do to get there, and it's very small, don't trade that day. I promise you, if you don't trade, as soon as you start contemplating the concerns of being able to reach that, honestly, let me ask you, okay, there's only about 2,300 of you right now listening to me. Out of the 2,300 that are listening to me, and for people that listen to this later on in the day or whenever they get to it, um, reply to the link or the invitation that this Twitter space has offered for you to be a member of listening to it. If you've ever fell victim to doing that, I'm not going to ridicule you. I'm not going to say, ha, look at you. But if you feel like you want to be honest and make an impression on the other community members to kind of like inspire them to learn from your mistake, nobody here is beating you up. No one's here laughing at you. I've done this before, not with funded accounts, but I've done this before as a 20-year-old. I was very, very close to getting $10,000 where I was going to do a withdrawal. And I'm like, all I got to do is make another $200. And I got it. And it would be a Friday. And I would go on tilt, just like that. And the whole weekend, I'm figuring out how I can cut grass, do extra jobs, do things on the side, deliver pizza, all these things, just to get the scratch up to do it again. Did you ever suffer like that where you're right there or almost getting ready to get a payout or you're getting ready to get a funded account or reach some kind of a mile marker and you start dwelling on it, you have to get it. It's almost like a piece of meat between your teeth. Your tongue just keeps going back to it. You can't leave it alone. I cannot not trade today. I have to get this today. I cannot do that. I could not wrestle my own willpower to avoid doing this. I have to do it because I don't want to be sitting there on Saturday morning or Sunday. My mind's gonna be just thinking about if I just would have did that, my weekend would have been so much better if I would have got that target on Friday before the end of the day. So you did it and you impulsively traded because you couldn't stand the discomfort of not having the goal achieved yet. Young men, that tell me all the time, I wish you would just talk on point and stop ranting, stop talking all this wasteful stuff. Nobody cares about this stuff, old man. Well, that's because you're broke. That's because you don't make money, and that's because you don't know how to trade. And you think that trading is tell me when to buy, tell me when to sell. It's XYZ, boom, 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 1, 2, 3, easy steps. And it's not like that at all. And proof is I've given models just like that, telling you the very time, silver bullet. How many millionaires did you see come out of the silver bullet when there's millions of you watching the same stuff? The answer is not that. The answer is fixing yourself first. When you stop worrying about achieving things that you don't necessarily need, making an amount of money that you don't necessarily need in the beginning. See, who says you have to have $10,000 as your first payout? Who says that? I taught my son Caleb. I said, listen, you pay rent in an apartment like $1,700 a month. If you go into trading every week and your goal is to make $250 and come out each week with $250, no matter what you make above that, who cares? That's a bonus. You start like that. That's your cookie cutter. Because if you do that, you're getting the majority of your rent paid. Not all of it, the majority of it. You're beyond 50% of your rent. And if you do that month after month, then slowly increase it. Okay, now I'm going to try to make $350 a week. Do that for a month or two. And eventually work towards $500 a month. Now you're above the rent. You have to give yourself time and realistic goals in the beginning. You can't just go in and say, I just want to get a massive payout because I can copy all these accounts together, link them together, and I'm going to be able to do what Lanto's doing. And I had to find a way to segue into that. And I just want to tell you, again, that is very, very impressive. Very, very impressive. And I think everybody that's watching you would agree that you're killing it right now.